Welcome to today's webinar on increasing profits, part 1. In part 1, we'll look at the FinanceSmart success steps to profitability. We'll look at the 5 ways to increase your business profits, and we'll look at a template for payroll, which is arguably your largest expense. If you haven't been to the Third Level Consulting website, just hit 3rdlevelconsulting.com. As a client, you can immediately log into your share file, best practices library, and more, the Success Solutions dashboards, or you can shop our store. If you're new to Third Level Consulting, you can click on a free consultation, and we will get you started. The best way to see what we do is to hover your mouse over the What We Do tab, and you'll see who we serve, a variety of industries: gymnastics, swim, dance, cheer, martial arts, childcare, and children's activity centers. Our services, the dashboard, the third level memberships, online courses, expansion planning, and valuation and sales. And last but not least, our events. We have free monthly webinars that are recorded here for you. Our clients, of course, get the document sets and all of the best practice related templates. There's a personal and professional transformation conference annually, generally in the spring, soon to be held around the globe, and the Business Acceleration Training Series, which are coming right up in September, October, and early November of 2015 in 4 locations around the U.S. The first thing we're going to look at today in the Increasing Profits, Part 1, is the FinanceSmart Key Profitability Factors. And this is an article that will be downloaded, is downloaded by our client base. You can take screenshots, I suppose, if you like, but it's far easier to be a subscriber and a third level member of our family of progressive business owners. As you can see in the FinanceSmart section here, there are 8 steps. Actually, on the Success Solutions dashboards, which are our online app, there's actually 12 that you rate yourself between 1 and 10 each one on the app. It's an online mobile app. And then you design long and short-term action items from there and create success logs as well. It's pretty slick. You'll want to take a look at that. And we're happy to walk you through it online in a personal session, regardless of whether you're a client or a prospective client. Your business model, your facility design, your mortgage or rent, your payroll, your pricing, your class ratios, evaluating your expenses, and developing new programs are all success steps to profitability. The first 3 you can take together. Your business model, you want to choose it on purpose. And what you're seeing is the actual document download that you would get as a client. You're welcome to go slowly and copy this, of course. That's totally fine if you're not a client yet. Best of luck to you. We just give you the tip of the iceberg here, and our clients, of course, get the rest. The business model, choosing it on purpose, not just because you've always done it, evaluating your programs every year to see if they're still viable and generating the profitability and fulfilling the mission that you want to. That, in turn, drives the facility design. So your business model that you choose on purpose and reevaluate every year determines your facility design. What's the layout? What's the teaching stations? What are the rotations, etc.? Your mortgage or rent. Our point here is that it's always negotiable. You may think your mortgage is set or your lease is set, but it's always negotiable if you know what you're doing, and we have lots of negotiation documents for that. Your payroll is largely your number 1 expense, and we'll take a look in just a moment at the template that we will explore in more detail in FinanceSmart Part 2 next month. Pricing, along with payroll and class ratios, is what we call kind of a holy trinity of profitability. You have to have your payroll controllable to some degree. The pricing has to be adequate, fulfilling the value proposition that the customers are looking for. And the class ratios, what we call smart class ratios, generally give you a little bit of flex in the ratios, thereby generating potential additional profit from great teachers. Your expense analysis is simply looking at the expense every month, or not every month, of course, on your profitability, or every quarter, but looking every year at every expense item to see if you can generate savings on that. Never hurts to ask for a better deal from every line item on your expense. And generating more programs, developing more programs for the same clientele. I think this is pretty straightforward, and these are the FinanceSmart profitability factors. This, of course, is just a rough summary. There are hundreds of document templates going into details on each one that you can adapt for your facility as a member of Third Level Consulting's business family. Now, I've been studying Brad Sugars, who's an amazing guy out of the Southern Hemisphere, Australia, New Zealand area, and he has a company called Action Coach. And one of the things he did on a recent seminar, and I kind of diagrammed this out here, he's taking the number of leads or prospects that you may have times the conversion rate equals the number of customers. That's just math. That's why it's shaded blue. Times the number of transactions times the average dollar sale equals revenue, which is why that's shaded blue, times your profit margins equals your profits, which is why that's shaded green. So the 5 you can do something about are just shaded white. Now, his premise is if you put your materials in front of 500 new prospects, 500 new prospects that are targeted, you get your marketing materials in front of them, and your conversion rate is 25%, it generates 125 new customers. If there's 12 transactions a year, say one a month, at an average of $100, let's say that's your tuition, then it generates $150,000 in new revenue. If your profit margins are 20%, then that generates you an additional $30,000 of profit. His contention here is that just a 10% increase in every one of the categories that you can affect equals a 60% or higher profit increase. So increasing 500 to 550 in terms of the eyeballs that see your marketing materials, increasing the conversion rate by just 10% equals a 10% increase in customers. The transactions goes from 12 to 13.2. Maybe there's a camp, a party, an additional retail shop purchase, something like that, that gives you an additional transaction per year. Maybe the average sale goes up to 110 because you can substantiate the value proposition to that customer. Your revenue goes up significantly. And if you can increase your profit margins by 10%, then your net profit goes from 30 to 49,000 plus an increase of 64.71%. And of course, if you got your materials in front of 1,000 people or 1,500 people, you can see what happens here. It starts to really go up. This is a very nifty little formula. Now, one more item here. This is kind of small, but since payroll is arguably your number one expense, then it pays to look at a grid showing different types of categories of workers, whether it's you as an owner, if you are one, or general managers, program directors, program managers, whatever you want to call them, assistant program managers, hourly staff, or in education, sports, arts, or entertainment. And then on the left side, I'll blow this up just a little bit for you. On the left side, you're looking at what is the compensation. If there's hourly compensation, what is it for owners, program directors, program managers? And it only makes sense, however, if you break it down into rural, mid-sized towns, or dense urban areas. So there are these 3 categories, rural, mid-sized, and dense urban, whether somebody is hourly part-time, full-time, salary part-time, salary full-time, hourly and profit share, salary and profit share, private lessons, paid vacations, etc. All these benefits that you might look at have a rural, mid-sized, and dense urban component to it. So in part 2 of this, next month, we're going to be looking at 2 things. One, we're going to go back to the 5 ways to increase your profits, your business profits. However, we're going to look at the 5 white boxes and look at these in terms of tactics. What exactly can you do to increase each one of these? And next month in part 2, we're going to be looking at the compensation ranges grid to actually fill these in, to look at in the US, Australia, Canada, at least what's the kind of general compensation for these areas in these 3 different types of demographic settings. So we'll be looking at all of those next month in part 2. Meanwhile, please visit thirdlevelconsulting.com. If you are already a client, be sure you use the dashboard login, the ShareFile login, or connect with us and explore any of the services that we offer, especially the upcoming events and the Business Acceleration Training Series. If you're not a client yet, hit the free consultation. That'll take you to a landing page, which will get you a free, no obligation consultation. Thanks for joining us today. Look forward to seeing you in the future.